Hi everyone, it's Andrea here, otherwise known as Dad the Gamer. How are we today? I want to start by thanking everybody for their support. You guys have been really tremendous and wonderful, from Rachel at Kittypedia and the support they've been extending out to me, to just you guys on Facebook, friends and family reaching out and congratulating me for pursuing something that I'm really passionate about. Look, I'm really enjoying this little journey, and please continue following me and supporting me. I can't really appreciate it or tell you how much I appreciate it. Okay, so with that out the way, what I want to do today is talk to you guys specifically about Family Link. Okay, so Family Link is the way to protect your child on an Android device. Okay, so I will shoot a video for Apple, not too far away from that, but today I use Samsung, and my kids all use Samsung phones, so I thought this would be the easiest one to jump in with and get started to. Okay, so you need to go to, before we get started, I guess, the thing we need to talk about with regards to Family Link, and you can see it here on the screen on the top right, two down from the right. Family Link is downloadable from the Play Store, and there's two things to understand. You can install Family Link just on your phone and effectively create a child's profile on your phone. So if your child, let's say you have a younger child who wants to use your phone, and you don't want them accessing a lot of other bits and pieces on your phone, you can install Family Link, which has a password for your account and their account. So when you swap over the phone to their account on your phone, they cannot access any of your important information or jump online and do things that you don't want them to do. If, however, your child has their own phone, then you use Family Link. You install it on both your phone and their phone. Okay, and what that provides you with is the ability to monitor their telephone from further afar, so you can do it remotely. You don't actually have to be with them. Okay, so I'll click on the app now and open it up. So I'm assuming that you've downloaded it. Okay, obviously pretty simple to do. We download apps and install them all the time. Okay, we now wait for it to load up, and here we are. And you can see here on mine, we've got Alyssa, who has Family Link. Now, it's important to understand, obviously I have the two children, Luca, who's 13, and Ali, who is 10. Family Link really only works from 12 and younger. Okay, so your child, if they're 13, Google seems to believe and work on the principle that they're a little bit older and a little bit more responsible. There are apps that will allow you to monitor a phone for a 13-year-old. One that comes to the top of my head is Teen Screen. But you need to be wary of the fact that there is evidence now pointing to the fact that if we start monitoring kids' use, they're kind of quite accepting up until about 11 and 12. It seems that after that age, 13, 14, into adolescence and moving towards adulthood, that it can undermine your relationship with your child. So they actually feel like you're spying on them, and it can erode trust. So my view of this is, if we use apps like Family Link with children that are 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, educate them, teach them to be good digital citizens, teach them safe practices on the internet, what is acceptable, what is unacceptable behavior. By the time they get to 13, in the same way that we'll let them catch a bus to and from school, which perhaps we wouldn't do if they were 10 or 11, I think we can start to give them some rope and let them go. But again, that's my personal opinion. If you do have if you do have a child perhaps who's less than trustworthy, and sometimes it happens and you need to monitor them, well, there are apps available, and if that's something you're interested in, shout out and I will definitely hunt them down for you. Okay, so this is the interface. Now when you tap on the interface, it will load up and takes you into the app. Just waiting for this, here we go. Okay, so the first thing you see here is the dashboard. Okay, I apologize, I'm not going to show you where the map is. So we've got manage settings. Okay, you've got the map, which will show you where the child is with their phone. Okay, It gives you a section here. It's got no activity today. Obviously, Ali's been getting ready for school and on her way to school, but it'll give you the activity, what they've been spending their time on, what they've done, which apps they've accessed. Okay, if we come down a little bit further, it's got Alyssa's 3 devices. Okay, so Chromebook for school, and then the Samsung phone that she uses. Okay, and then the limits, okay, of what she's been used. So I'll get to it later, but you can actually set time limits on each device if you so want to. Okay, and it sits here, edit limits. So I'll get to that a little bit later. Bedtime, not scheduled. Now this is an interesting one. You can, I'll get to it later, but you can schedule bedtime, but Thursday nights where we have a commitment on Thursday night, that generally means we don't get home till after 8 o'clock, and Ali's bedtime is 7:30, so we can set that. Apps that she's installed lately, okay. Last online, so when was she last online, okay, for each of those specific devices. Now, it is important to understand that this is with regards to your registered account, okay? So for example, we'll have here that, Ali was last on a Chromebook on 6 days ago. That would have been in her personal account under the Google account that we monitor, and again, I'll show you how to set that up. But because she uses it at school on the school servers that are very safe, and she uses it within her school profile, I don't need to monitor her school profile because the school is doing that for me, okay? And then a few other bits and pieces, okay? So if we scroll back up to the top, okay, we're going to scroll back up, and we're going to come up here at the top. You've got manage settings, okay? So we click on manage settings, and it will bring up all the parental settings that you have control over as a parent. And Family Link is really great, okay? Like anything though, and I've said it before, these type of apps, these monitoring apps, they're not foolproof, okay? Nothing is foolproof. What you need to do is spend time with your child all the time, educating them, okay? I'm really big on that, okay? I'm really big on educating. You want to be empowered, but you want to empower your child as well, because if they're just doing good things because you're there and you're telling them to do it, or because they're monitoring them, I think it doesn't intrinsically motivate them to be good, or to learn, or to protect themselves, okay? So education is key, and we're the big drivers in that. So I'm now going to go through bit by bit and show you what can you look at, okay? So if we look specifically, we'll go first controls on Google Play. I'll hit that, okay? And it has all of these bits that you can control, okay? So purchases and download approvals, and you can see here require approval for, and I've got all purchases using the family payment method. So basically, when you set up a child's Gmail account, okay, what you will basically have to do is provide some credit card details, okay? So that's not a problem, okay, because they're going to need their own Gmail account to set it up, okay? But you can, okay, you've got a credit card attached to their Gmail account, but if you've blocked any purchase, they can't make any purchase from the Play Store anyway, okay? So if I just open that up, okay, member settings, okay, set purchase approvals, so you've got no approval required, only in-app purchases, okay, all purchases using the family payment method, or all content. Now the reason I haven't selected all content is she can't really purchase anything other than through the family payment method, okay? So you can make that as tight as you like. Again, whatever works for you guys, okay? You also have content restrictions, okay? So you've got apps and games. So again, if I click on that, you've got general all the way through to restricted 18+, or you can allow for all. Obviously, Ali is 10, so we have parental guidance, okay? Same thing for things like TV, books, okay, and music. Well, what can we restrict there? Well, and I don't want her reading anything sexually explicit, makes sense, obviously, okay? And if we look at music, okay, anything that's marked explicit by content providers, and they're getting much better in regard to music around those kind of things, okay? So that's the Google Play settings that you can control. If we then look to filters on Google Chrome, okay, I'll click on that one. Again, you can set it. You can allow all sites. You can ask Google to try and block mature sites, okay? Or you can allow only certain sites, okay? And again, if I just click on manage sites here under try to block mature sites, okay, you can manage sites, approved sites or blocked sites, okay? It's really important that you do have control. And that's the one thing about Family Link. You can actually go in there, and if there's potentially an app, so for example with Ali, she does a lot of singing and dancing, okay? A lot of the theatre companies that she works with will use Dropbox to send music and those things through, okay? So we can actually allow that app, even though it may not fit into what Google would suggest is a PG or G app. So you can have control over that, but make exceptions for specific apps rather than blanket rules for everything, okay? Google search. We know kids like tapping into Google and everything else, okay? Because Ali is under 13, it'll just automatically go to a safe search, okay? So it will try and filter sexually explicit and violent results on Google, which is fantastic. But as always, and it's got the disclaimer there, it isn't perfect, okay? And Ali might still find things. This is where having a conversation saying, look, if you see something that you shouldn't see, or what is, discussing with her around what is appropriate and what isn't appropriate is critically important. I mean, look, kids will see things that we don't want them to see. That's part of the learning process, okay? But it's what they do with that. How do they process that information? And if they feel that they can come to you and talk to you about that stuff, far less likely, I think, of things to come about from that, okay? Now, Google Assistant, okay? Good old Alexis or whatever, okay? Again, it gives you some options here, third-party action, so allow Alyssa to interact with apps for families made by third parties, okay? I've allowed that. Some of the games she plays require that, okay? Add Alyssa to new devices, okay? And then retrain Alyssa's voice match. Now, I don't have voice recognition for Alyssa. I don't think that there's no requirement for her to have voice activation, not at this stage anyway. That's my view. You may think differently. That's okay. You can set it up and it is a bit of fun. And the reality is we are moving towards voice. I think, 5-10 years from now, everything will be voice activated with things like Alexa and Google Home and everything else. That will be part and parcel of it. But at this point, I'm not quite ready to let go. So I'm hanging on to that little bit of control myself. Okay. Now, Android apps, if I select Android apps, okay. Now, the beauty of Android apps is there's two elements to it, okay. You can actually set limits. That is how much time she's allowed to spend on each app. So if I just use the top one, the 2048 number puzzle game, okay. If I hit set limit, I can control how many minutes she's allowed to play on that. So if you've got a child, for example, who's on Roblox all the time, you could literally go in there and say, look, I'm only going to allow you to play an hour of Roblox or half an hour of Roblox or whatever. So it's really powerful that way. If you don't want to set just a global limit for the phone and say, look, yes, you can use 2 hours on the phone, but I only want half an hour of that 2 hours to be on Roblox, you can set that up. So it really gives you the flexibility and the control to work with what works for you, your son and daughter, and your family, okay, which is, I think, really powerful. Again, activity, if you click on the activity tab, obviously there's no activity today, but yesterday we can see that she spent a bit of time on Messenger. She sent some messages back and forwards towards me yesterday, okay. Her Gmail account, okay, a few other bits and pieces there. Going back to the last 7 days, so Netflix, and she's a 10-year-old, so no surprise, Roblox is big, okay. And then the last 30 days, she spent a fair bit of time on YouTube. And again, she had a performance a couple of days ago. So with regards to her singing and stuff, you can see that Dropbox sits there third, learning all of that stuff. Okay, so it's really, really good. You can just go back and get an idea on your kids' habits on their device, which again, it's really what it is about, mapping over time how your child uses their phone, and without, I think, being overly overt. You don't have to go in there and top down. You've got the objective information, you've got the data, and you can just start simple conversations around what they're doing. Not saying, oh, I've noticed, but, oh, so, do you play YouTube, or do you use a YouTube, or you play Roblox? And yes, and start a conversation that way. Okay, I think that is really, really useful. Location, it's great. I've marked here, see your child's location. You saw it on the dashboard. If her phone is connected to the internet, and sign in, which happens automatically, you can see where she is at any given moment in time, which is really, really wonderful. Okay, and within that, the device location settings, okay, you can set up whether you want high accuracy using GPS, Wi-Fi, and mobile networks, okay, battery saving, and device only. So the beautiful thing about using GPS is it uses GPS, okay? So, and again, if you've got a child who's catching the bus or doing whatever, it's really, again, really, really powerful for you to kind of keep tabs on them, okay? Now, again, it's really important to understand that all of this relates to the account that you're monitoring. There's nothing at all stopping your child from setting up an adult account on their own and a workaround, okay? There's nothing that you can really do with that, but again, it just comes back to having, I think, open dialogue and conversation, saying, look, I'm not doing this to be controlling, and take away all your freedoms. It's about you being protected and helping teach you. I think most kids, if you start them young, are kind of quite understanding with that. And it's about giving them enough rope to learn. And you want them to make mistakes, I think, anyway. Okay. I'm not going to click into the account info. It just basically brings up things like their date of birth and all of that stuff. And I don't think that you guys need to see that. And then down into more, if we click on that, other things, okay? So Google photo sharing, can she share her photos? Which of course she can. I don't have an issue with her sharing her photos. Again, we've educated her around what photos are appropriate and what aren't appropriate, and go from that. Controls for signing in. So if we click on that, okay, would you like to be asked for permission every time Alyssa tries to sign into iPods, iPhones, browsers, and platforms that can't be supervised, okay? And I'm saying yes, ask me every time. And that's not for any other reason than I want to know what she's doing, okay? And once they gain your trust, you can drop that, okay? But again, that's me. This may not be relevant to you. You may have slightly different views, and that's perfectly okay. I'm not judging anybody on anything. Everybody's value set is different, okay? Managing Google activity, okay? So who can manage activity controls? Only I can. I'm not going to get Ali in there changing what she can and can't do, okay? And then YouTube Kids. So again, because she has a Family Link account, automatically she's only allowed access to YouTube Kids, which is a more sanitized version of YouTube. It doesn't give her the option of seeing, some of the more adult content. But even within that, you can choose the content level settings, okay? So you can, if it's a younger child, 6 or 7, or if you think your child's a little bit more mature, you can give them older, okay? And so for us, it's older, okay? And then if there's a specific video that sits outside of that, you can unblock particular videos or channels around that. So again, I like the specificity. You do have that flexibility to be able to sit there and go, yep, I want them to do that, okay? So just before we finish up, because I know I've been going for a little while, okay, but I think it's important. Coming back into the dashboard, as we spoke about before, you can lock devices. So if you're going somewhere and you don't want the kid to have it, if you hit lock now, it's remotely logging into her phone, and it's booting up, thinking about it. We should see it change to lock. There you go. It's locked now until 6 a.m. tomorrow, okay? And if I hit unlock, it will unlock the phone and she has full access to it. So again, really powerful tool. It does give you that remote access, okay? Bedtime, editing the schedule, okay? So we can see here Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, it switches off at 7 o'clock. Thursday, because we have a commitment that we're not home, okay? And then Friday and Saturday, we don't have a bedtime, okay? You can set daily limits around how much she's allowed to use, okay? Now we have 3 hours there because again, with regards to her singing, she has to practice with singing and all of those kind of things. And she does have homework that she has to do on Chromebooks and stuff like that. So when she comes home and does homework, that will come onto her personal account rather than the school account. And from that, she needs some time to be able to do that, hence why we have that limit set, okay? So that's where we sit with there. I guess the final thing to do is look at a couple of other very quick options. Okay, so we're back here on the front screen. To add a user, okay, you've got the plus up here on the top right. Okay, I click on. Okay, so here we go. You've added the plus button. Goes now to, does your child have a Google account? So this is just an addendum to the last video showing how to set up, okay? So does your child have a Google account ending in Gmail? You will have to set it up. If it's no, okay, you'll have to create a Google account for her or him, okay? So again, does your child have a Google account? If we hit yes, once it's set up, you'll go to your child's device, okay? And you and your child will set up the supervision on their device, okay? And then open Google Play link on their phone, and then you can basically pop in the family code and bang, like that, it's connected, okay? Coming back out of that, I'm now going to go to the menu on the top left just to bring down a few other little bits and pieces to talk to you guys about. This is what you would see on your website. You know, don't mind my email address. So you've got Alyssa, which if I click on that will take us back into that previous dashboard, okay? Family group, okay? This is where you can kind of click on the family group and it tells you who is registered, okay? I'm the family manager, and Alyssa, you have got the capacity to add 6 accounts under the one family, which I think is fantastic. And then you can manage parental privileges within that. So perhaps you've got an 18-year-old child who you want to give parental privileges to, they're responsible enough, you can do that, okay? Approval requests. So every time Ali wants to add an app from the phone, from the Play Store rather, I will get a notification both in app and via email, and I actually have to approve that request. So if I'm not sure of what the app is, I can go in, do a little bit of research on the app, check it out. I have 24 hours to respond to that. She does get a little bit annoyed sometimes because she has to wait, but hey, in life we have to wait, and I want to be able to be the one that says yes or no to what she can and can't do, okay? A couple of other things just before I finish up. Parent access code, okay? So what happens with the parent access code is it's, if I click on that, it's a code that generates every hour, okay? So it just turns around, okay? Just kind of counts down and bang, okay? So if we can't get to the internet, okay? Or Ali's got her phone and she doesn't have access to the internet, so I can't unlock it through. She can potentially call me, or someone can come and get the code, and it will basically unlock that device, okay? So it's a really, really powerful tool. Again, as a parent, it gives you control over their phone, okay? And it really comes down to a connection if the internet's not available. So you know, for whatever reason, Wi-Fi goes down, or your mobile phone is not connected to the internet, or you're in a place where you can't get reception, okay? Use this code to unlock their phone, and it just randomly generates. You don't need to be connected to the internet to get this parental code. Google just kind of automatically runs it through, okay? And you can learn more about that, all right? The only final thing I wanted to touch on was tips for families, okay? This is really useful. I really like it. It gives you some tips around digital literacy, okay? Setting expectations, not just filters, which I think is really important about building trust with your kids. Securing your stuff, helping kids to protect their personal info, and how to avoid scams and tricks. I think it's really, really cool. I think it's really, really great. And I do think that Apple, Google, these companies, these people, they're starting to appreciate and understand that. I mean, even social media apps now like Instagram, you can't see how many likes somebody has, and same things happening on Facebook. I think it will remove, some of the early chatter is it'll probably remove followers, okay? We not only are we looking to be protecting kids online, but we're constantly aware of issues around self-esteem and these kind of things. And so removing those things is, I think, really good. And there is some, believe it or not, from these big companies, there is an understanding that they need to address the concerns of parents and people more generally. There is evidence now coming out more and more about the potential psychological harm, especially of social media and online, of these type of things. And so there is a shift. You could be cynical about it, but I'm going to take the view that the cup is half full, and that these companies and organizations are trying to be good corporate and global citizens, and actually look after them, because a lot of these guys and girls who founded these companies, they're parents themselves, okay? And they're conscious of, they're not wanting their kids to access content that perhaps they shouldn't do. Okay, and I think that's really, really wonderful. So I'm going to finish up there. Like always, if you found it useful or you know somebody who would benefit, please like the video, tag them in, share it. Okay, Apple One's coming, so be patient with that. And yeah, thank you so much again for your support. I really, really do appreciate it. If you have any questions, as always, send me a message or type them down below the video, and I'll look forward to answering them for you as soon as I can. Okay, guys, take care. Have a great day, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.